whole tree, and for solo as well. So let's move from the right side of the map and start talking about the left side a little bit. And let's talk about benevolence. So your support starter item here. It's going to be seeing a buff, and we're just decreasing the cost.
Yeah, so we've seen the
Yeah.
Sentinel starter kind of take over the duo lane pretty
Mhm.
clearly. Now we've seen a lot of interesting starts
I
there
need to
too.
be-
We've seen some people trying
I
to
need to be
use
there.
mannequins and support as
I
well
missed
as
those
War
games,
Flag.
but I'm gonna watch
Um,
one.
but we definitely felt like those were undervalued and undertuned compared to the Sentinel starter. So what you're going to see is a decrease to cost to Benevolence, which we really think this item has a lot of potential. One, because its upgrades are good, and we're going to be getting to some more buffs here soon, and because the ability to kind of level spike someone is really strong, although it could be difficult to apply. But we're just bringing the cost down here to let those Guardians better build into, Hand of the Gods if they need that, or more potions, or be a little bit more flexible with their starting build. And we're going to be making a similar change to War Flag whenever that comes up.
Yep, War Flag is actually next, so decreasing the cost. We can just kind of talk right
Yep.
in line with that. AJ, you're predicting the future. I like it.
Yeah, so we've seen people. I've seen people I've been watching. Are experimenting with this in support. You can get some really cool aggressive starts with this, especially when you stack up something like Talisman of Energy as the game goes on. Really be a very strong aura source for your team. Although
Okay.
these don't technically count as auras because they're actually triggered AOE buffs with a duration. They're not persistently on. But you can get that kind of buff ball strategy going where you can be a really, really strong buffer for your team. We think this has some pretty good stats. We're just bringing the cost down similarly to Benevolence, again, to help even it up with the other options.
All right, and you kind of touched on it a little bit towards the top of the support discussion.
missed
but
the
next up
Scepter.
is Sentinel's
I
Embrace,
need to check
which has kind of
Scepter
been the
after this.
overall consensus that this is the best kind of upgraded support
Yeah.
starter item. So it's going to be seeing a nerf here in bonus. We're going to be decreasing both protection shared between allies and on the passive.
Yeah, so what you'll see here is actually we buffed the other starters. In some roles we're nerfing and buffing the starters, adjusting them, but for this case we're buffing War Flag and Benevolence, just getting straight buffed. While the Sentinel starter is going to remain
It's
the same.
still too good.
But then we're nerfing
it's still
this
too good.
upgraded
The
Sentinels,
tier 1 is
which
still
this
too
one
good.
seems to be the very
Extra
specific
gold,
go-to,
extra
and
fucking
we've seen a
HP,
lot of
extra
people
mana.
talking
It's
about
still too good.
how tanky people can get, especially in the late game. So
It's still too fucking
there's
good.
always, a lot of discussion about how tanky or how bursty is a meta at the very beginning of the year. People tend to play a lot more aggressive and a lot more experimentally, so that is a lot of times what you're feeling more so than the true itemization. But we've seen here with this item that this can make a team really tanky, especially in the late game. So we're just tuning this down a little bit.
No,
to make
it
the
can't.
Other, options more attractive.
Mage is still one-shotting you.
All right, so we've still got a couple more support starter items and upgrades to talk about here. Next up is Compassion. Going to be seeing a buff here. Compassion is now going to provide 40 magical protections.
And this is pretty much a way to help it
But I don't remember the
compete
passive of
with
this item.
Sentinel's Embrace. But if you want the
Yes.
benevolent start with the more interesting XP, this is a way you can kind of round that out with tankiness in the late game.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah, the
next up-
magical protection will help it specifically because the damage redirected to you is magical damage. So this will help you self.
Oh,
reduce
that's that item.
compassionate
Okay,
damage taking
okay.
you're doing.
That helps. But yeah.
All right,
That's
next
good.
up
That's
in the
good.
same tree, everyone's kind of fun, neutral kind of starter
One more.
upgrade that has been going over on social media. Everybody's been talking about it. Animosity. Going to be seeing a nerf here. It is no longer going to deal bonus damage to structures. Talk to me about Animosity, and because I know it's been just a talk in the community.
It's still gonna
ever
be
since
up
season
for
So
one
there's
week.
a lot of different points here that me and Pon can touch on. Specifically, one point we want to make is that we think that skipping a starter item to try to build sort of an off-roll one in the late game, we think that's a pretty fair trade-off. Meaning that what we think is skipping a starter item is hurting your early game quite a lot. So sure, maybe you could be really strong with Animosity in the late game, but you're hurting your early game a lot to be able to do that. And we're generally keeping an eye on this. We do think it kind of breaks the spirit of the design a little bit, but we'd like to have players have more flexibility as long as the trade-offs feel fair. We don't want people being able to skip starters and feel like, oh, I'm super powerful the whole game, and then when I finish Animosity, I'm unkillable. The next thing about Animosity is that we found that this is a bit of a meme build. Like, I know some people are putting up good numbers with it, but we've been running the stats on it very closely, and
No, you
it's
don't.
not winning that
No,
many
you're
games,
not.
especially when people are building it on like
You just
Jonkey and,
don't know.
weird people,
Goddamn
weird
shit
gods
about this
trying
game.
to you really
Because
use
you
the
don't play
effect to
it.
its maximum. Like, sure, that's interesting, but it's not particularly strong. It generally just does the best on true aggressive supports, like Ymir, Terra, a few like that. That's where it's really doing the best. And those gods are possibly buying Benevolence as a starter item anyway, right? So what we chose to do here, which maybe Pond could explain a little bit more, is just touch the structure damage, specifically because that's an even higher level of frustration and cheese that we wanted to just be careful with.
Yeah,
was
a lot
able
of
to
the
kill
a lot
Phoenix
of the
without
complaints we were
quits
seeing
as
really were
scrolls.
it felt like you couldn't really protect your tower against this. They could come in and like just
In
really kill your structure,
6
especially the
seconds.
double hit characters, the Zhang Kui and the Erlang Shen. And even though we saw that strategy not actually put up great numbers, it's not necessarily the most fun to play against, even if it isn't a winning strategy. So
Pokemon
removing
Legends
this
is
not
just
only focuses the item more towards those aggressive supports, which was their intended goal, but also reduces the frustration case of players utilizing it too effectively. The Ymir's, which I think Ymir is actually one of the most winning characters with this item in
I
general.
think he was the most
should-
winning.
Yeah, he shouldn't feel this that much. Whereas the characters where this was being utilized in a frustrating
Oh yeah,
manner,
Ymir
Zhang
should
Kui,
get
Split
bonus
Push,
damage
they're going to
from
feel
this
this a lot
item.
more.
So one last
I
thing to
need
say
another
is
beer.
no one
I'll be
is
back
impressed by you soloing Fire Giant for 2 whole minutes, just standing there. If the other team is not checking Fire Giant for 2 whole minutes, then you deserve that Fire Giant. We don't care how many people it took to kill it. We're not super concerned about that, but we
Yeah,
don't like
Ymir
the split
with his
push. We
passive
don't
should
like
get bonus
Phoenix's
damage
towers
from
going down
that.
fast,
The
because those are
bonus damage
squishier than
from
Fire
it,
Giant
no?
in many cases. So we feel like this is the safest change to make. We'll definitely keep an eye on it, and we're sure people are going to keep memeing on it, and we want to keep that dream alive, but we don't want to just kill it outright from the very beginning.
Right.
No, you killed it already.
Definitely. All right, we've
No
got one
damage
more
to
kind of
structures.
starter item
That's
slash
that
starter item upgrade to talk about in bonus balance. Death's Temper. Going to be seeing a buff here, and we're going to be increasing the range at which you can gain stacks from enemies.
Yeah, so this is a good segue.
It
for two
doesn't
things.
change
One
anything.
is Death Temper just felt like this range
Still
was so
shit
short, you
item.
would kill something and wouldn't actually get any stacks
It's
from it.
still shit
That
item.
is something that should now just feel more consistent with other items that actually
It's still
result
the
in that.
shit.
But the second big thing here is that a lot of the item effects that have range-specific activations, their text will now be updated to describe that.
It's
So you
still
don't have to
shit
guess now if I need to be in like 40 units or 50 units. That'll just be on the item where it's applicable. So you'll be able to see that as well.
Yeah, it's still
This
shit.
also has a bug fix coming as well, which
Correct.
will be stated later. But yeah,
It's still shit.
this was the only hunter buff we had.
It's still shit.
And then last up, we're for items in bonus balance. Ratatouille going to be seeing a nerf. Mages are doing a lot of damage, and this is a really popular item amongst them.
It's still broken.
So we're going to be decreasing the power from 160
that
to
doesn't
140.
change anything. It's
Yeah,
giving
we're
too
seeing
much
right now just a very
MP5
large
and
power
it's
spike in
giving
mages,
pen.
specifically in the mid game when they get a
It's
few
still
of these
too good.
items online.
It's still
So
too fucking good.
we're bringing that down to kind of touch mages as a whole. There's other classes have been
It
nerfed as a
doesn't
whole.
change
The ones are
anything.
using mannequins right now, so all of
You're
those
still
getting
gonna
nerfed.
rush roll.
So we think this is a pretty good balance amongst the roles. We know there's some specific
Yeah,
gods
no.
that people think stand out,
No.
but we just chose to kind of address it through
You're just talking
Rod of
shit
Tahuti,
because you
Archmage's
don't know
Gem,
the
and
game.
Conduit Gem instead. This was one of the clearest top performers outside of the starter items, and that's why we chose to do it here in the bonus balance. We think this is a safe change for the short term as we continue
It's
to collect
safe,
a lot more
but
data.
it
for the
doesn't
future.
change anything.
All right, well, that wraps it up for items, but we do have a couple of gods to talk about in bonus balance.
Okay.
First up, we're going to talk about Set. Set going to be seeing a nerf here. Going to be decreasing the base damage on Skewer and decreasing the base healing on Kingslayer. Pawn, I'll let you take this one and talk to me about Set.
Yeah, so
Secure,
gods for bonus
it's
balance
his
this time
what?
around are really the top performers from last season that are still top performing that we expect to
20
remain top
power
performing
and 10
and
heal.
weren't
No.
largely affected by the
Set's still
healing changes
broken.
that occurred. And Set meets
Set
all those
is still
categories.
broken.
So Set was just this strong character. Itemization helped him out. He was very
He's still
highly
broken.
contested. And he just
He's
bullies
still
people.
broken.
You can see him as a top bandit.
All
rank
you're
as
saying
well.
is
So we're
trash
focused
because
really on reducing some
you
of the
didn't
base
change
damage that he takes from
anything.
building that kind of bruiser role.
There's
Especially
a
that
bit
level
of
5 to
damage
10 where he's
from
like
his one
he's gotten his skewer fully ranked
and
up
healing.
and he can dive
No,
you.
he's still
That
broken.
is going to be less lethal with the base damage reduction as well as the Kingslayer flat damage reduction.
No, yeah, he's still broken.
All right, and then last up for bonus balance, we've got Cupid going to be seeing a nerf. We're going to be decreasing the scaling on Heart Bomb and increasing the cooldown on Fields of Love, the ultimate.
You know, this little guy has
That-
been a beast since the buffs early last
Okay,
season.
what about
We've seen him
Danzaburo
just continue
and
to be a top
Apollo?
contested
Apollo
pick.
most
we did do
fucking
a
broken
slight
right now.
touch nerf to him not that long ago.
Apollo is
we
most
didn't see him
broken right
react to
now.
it very heavily, so we are bringing it down a
But we
little bit.
nerf him
We
Cupid.
all enjoyed,
We
at
nerfed
least on the dev
Cupid
team, we really
because,
enjoyed seeing
Apollo is
Cupid
most
being a top
broken.
pick in the SPL, which hasn't been the case for years.
SPL.
But he started to
Not
just be
Season 8.
so high in the pick ban
SPL.
testing. So coming down a
Apollo
little
is-
bit.
I
Hopefully
think
we still
Apollo
see
is
him
even
considered as a
better than
viable pick
Danza.
in the SPL because I think
because
he's
of
just really
his
fun and
global
interesting to
ulti.
watch.
And we're not
but
nerfing that.
Had to even him up with some of the other hunters out there.
We're not nerfing Apollo.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for bonus balance. That's coming out next week to you guys. But alongside all this balance, we've got an awesome amount of skins. We've got a few skins that are coming up next
That's
week too.
nice.
So definitely want to talk about. We'll kick things off with Dawn of Babylon, the new event, and one
So
that
we didn't
ever
nerf
since he got released, we've seen
Apollo.
players ask
We
about
didn't
this
nerf
one.
Danza.
We've got
We
Home
did
Run
not
Heimdall,
nerf Persephone.
as
We
in
don't
the
nerf
Dawn of Babylon event.
Janus.
Your baseball
didn't
skin,
nerf,
and this is kind of the
Cthulhu.
wide splash art, but I think we have
What
another
else?
version
What I
that's going to
forgot?
be the actual card that you see
Errol
on the loading
Shen,
screen in game.
Because
There
he's
you go.
broken
We've
as
done
a
some
support
extra
jungle.
treatment, make it feel like a real baseball card.
what
This
else
one's
did
looking
we didn't
super
nerf?
sick. Definitely a PSA 10 in my opinion. I don't know about you guys.
Mint can dish.
Janus.
I
Oh,
know,
Nuva.
right?
We didn't nerf
Oh my
Nuva.
gosh! I remember when we first pitched Heimdall Ultimate, the immediate first thought was we have to do a baseball skin.
I
at some
think that's
point, right? Like,
the
we
main
just have
gods.
to. He has to home run bat someone
Apollo.
off into space.
Most definitely.
Danza,
I'm loving the details in the
Nuva,
outfit and the hat and stuff, and
Janus.
we've got the turnaround here. The Asgard, I love the purples and golds too, and he's got that bat
What
and
I
the
forgot
socks. I'm sure AJ will appreciate those.
But yeah, anyway.
I wish I could show. I'm wearing
these
lightning
gods.
bolt socks. I got brand new ones
Let's
for Christmas,
nerf
but you can't see them
Cupid.
because of this camera angle instead of the wider set. I miss it.
Let's nerf Cupid.
But,
Then Apollo is
Of course,
most
I'm really
broken
stoked
god in
about
the
this
game
one.
right
You know,
now.
we've done some more modern
not
sport
God,
skins,
but
like Dunkfather
like
Odin,
ADC
so we've
role
had
god.
some practice on
Oh,
making our
Cthulhu.
characters feel really
Cthulhu,
interesting
King
in this
Arthur.
regard. And
Yeah.
this character, I know this one's all about the satisfaction of using the abilities, right? When you're gonna get in game and you're gonna
Let's
Heimdall
not
ult and
nerf
charge
these
someone and
gods.
just hear that home run bat crack.
They
That is what
they
this is like.
nerfed
This
the
is
gods
about
from
it.
SPL. That's about
Trust
it.
me when I say that it is. It's very
That's all.
satisfying to play.
Definitely.
They
My man
didn't
is
nerf
tatted
anything
up too.
fucking.
I'm
So
loving it. Let's go ahead
they
and take
they
a listen
legit
to
not
the
listening
voice pack for Home Run Heimdall.
feedback from like players.
walk-up song, baby.
Only SPL. They looked at SPL.
He's
Yeah,
definitely
we need
ready
nerf that.
to
We
knock
need
it out
nerf
of the
that.
park.
We
But
need nerf
we got
that.
another one from
But
Dawn of
Season 8
Babylon, and
doesn't
this one
give
is
a
going to be
fuck.
super exciting for a couple of community
okay.
members that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
We've got Book of
I
Nightmares. Thoth,
didn't
the
saw
first,
skip the
Thoth
changes, so I need
skin
to check that.
in a long time here, and this one is looking super spooky, and this one's super creepy. AJ, what's going on with this one?
What the fuck is that?
So I did write a
Thought?
section on the patch notes for 8.1 specifically mentioning that we're going to be
Is it
doing our
Thought?
best to revisit skins for a bunch of gods who normally don't get skins. This is one of those ones that was on that list. Thoth finally getting one.
Oh.
And what we're trying to go
Because
for
of
here
his
is a
book, I
really
was thinking that's why
unique
it's
take on sort
Thoth.
of a demon eldritch theme. Thoth is defined kind of by his book, and so is a lot of Lovecraftian and similar lore like that. It's a common theme in those
Yeah, Thoth is not
types
strong
of
or
fantasy to have these
anything.
books that
He is
reveal
just fine.
terrifying secrets and powers with dark sides to them, and that's what you're going to see here with this Thoth skin.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this one looks in game as we prep the turnaround here. The details on the clothing and the cloth armor are sick, and that
That
book
face
is
is
definitely demonic in my opinion.
It's legit ugly.
Oh my gosh!
Also makes him not a bird, which is cool.
Oh, I didn't
That's a
even think
cool
about that.
change. Yeah, his beak and his face have been changed, so that's a really
His
big change.
face
It's
is
really
ugly.
nice, and that gets a big
Really
theming
ugly.
change to it too. And we've been really just trying to make sure we push ourselves to make anything that's demonic feel a little bit unique, add a little bit more flavor to it too. So we've got a lot
And
more
he doesn't
experimental
have
with our kind of
eyes.
colors and styles to just branch out from things beyond just fire and brimstone.
Yeah, this one's looking great. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack for this one.
Even the darkest of secrets are the path to power.
I'm loving the voice pack. It fits his personality and this new kind of evil take for Thoth perfectly, in my opinion. So this is kind of demonic, but it's got some fantasy vibes. But the next one we've got up, it leans all the way into high fantasy. We've got Dragon's
fuck
Dagger Pele,
cares?
and this is probably
Show
my
us the new
favorite
god.
card art of the entire update. I love just the glowing elements and the dragons and all the elf and fantasy vibes. What do you think, Pon?
Oh my gosh, when dragons have bestowed power on your weapons, you know they're going to do some cool stuff. That's such a cool theme for the artwork.
This is almost a completely new theme, I guess I would say. This was a result of some more experimenting on the art side within the fantasy subgenres and things you might
Still
be
going
familiar
to their
with
ass.
from MMOs and other types of fantasy games. So this is kind of the first along this line. So if you really like it, let us know. Show your love, and we'll keep this in mind for skins going forward.
Definitely. I've got a note here that the concept for this one was actually by
Boots,
Sam Hogg, who's
all
actually
you
done
need.
some work for the official Song of Fire and Ice calendar, Game of Thrones. This one is definitely
that's
looking
really
super
cool.
sick. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack for this one.
With this power invested in me, I shall bring our enemies to their knees.
I love it. Just something about the rhyming cantation. It's got the fantasy vibes all the way. But let's move away from fantasy. We've got the dystopian chest coming out next week, and we've got modern android Achilles making his debut on the battleground as a part of that chest. So we're going from fantasy, full sci-fi. What do you think about this one?
Not good.
Another
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
new theme for us, right? Another kind of
Oh,
trying to
fucking good.
explore a different type of sci-fi with a little bit more of a gritty, realistic feel to it, almost like if this android could be built within a few years or decades from here.
Yeah.
Also, just
Ugly.
he's styling, which is just really cool.
Yeah.
Have a
Ugly.
robot character with some
Ugly as fucking
cool
skin.
clothes. We were really excited to do
jacket
that.
is
And of
sick.
Look at
course,
his pants.
it is Achilles though,
How
so if
low
you want
is
to go
that?
ahead and take that jacket off and go full bare-chested
Ugly.
death machine, you certainly can do that too.
Ugly.
Yeah, I'm loving all the little extra little pieces of his armor and highlighting and even the paint on the shield. So cool.
Yeah, this one's looking sick. I bet he sounds sick as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack.
You're gonna win this one. Trust me, I'm from the future.
Yeah. Even voice pack sounds ugly.
Oh, you love
you
to
go.
see it. This one is sick. He's from the future. He knows he's already got it in the bag. Well, that wraps it up for everything that is coming out in the 8.1 bonus update next week. Coming to you guys, I believe the date is February 9th.
No
Don't hold me
good.
to it. Patch notes are live on the site if you want all the details. But we've got a lot of community news that we actually want to talk about as well.
I don't
First
give
up,
a
we've got
fuck.
a lot of
Show us
in-game
the
stuff
new
that you guys
god.
can get, earn stuff for free just by playing. The entire month this month, if Black History Month, we're super excited to celebrate, and you all will be able to earn the Equality Avatar just by winning a game all month of February, which is super awesome. We've also got 2 times everything. We extended that event that is going through Thursday. So if you're trying to rack up some diamonds here in the first couple of weeks of Season 8, definitely start playing some games. And then last but not least, over the weekend, if you want to get a little bit cute, you can get a cutesy avatar chest for getting 3 first wins of the day in game. So lots of awesome stuff going on. And then I've also got a plug for fans by fans. We've got the Fan Forge contest going on for all your artists. If you want to see your design on some official Smite merch, go ahead and go to
Who give us a
forfansbyfans.com
fuck?
and get
Show
your
us the new
submissions
god.
in. The world champion Pittsburgh Knights are going to be going through all the submissions and choosing finalists. And for the winner, you'll be able to get your own custom in-game avatar into Smite that you designed, which is super awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Next up, for all of you guys that are watching on Twitch, if you've got your Prime Gaming subscription up and running, you can get Fiendish Rage Kakulin for free. Just click that crown at the top right of your screen there to claim
I
your
already
free
got it on some
skin
of my
reward as a
accounts,
part of Prime
but not
Gaming.
on this
We've
one.
got a different skin that comes out every month, and it's been super awesome to catch up on some of that stuff that you may have missed. And then last but not least, my big announcement for community in this patch, in this update show.
And
We ran the Olympians election, and I am super excited to announce and welcome our 2021 Olympians Player Council. We've got Alpha Jackal, Whiskey
And
Worm,
I see
Savisaur,
5
Tempest in a
trash
Teacup,
players.
Black Eye,
Which I know.
Davion 505, Kerr
I see
McHale,
5 trash
Sinister
players in
Phoenix,
this
and
fucking
Cher. We've
lobby.
got an awesome group that are rounding out this year's
That's
council,
nice.
and we've actually started working with them
Casual-
a little bit
casual
earlier, and
trash
they've already
players.
been putting in a ton of work. AJ has been
Uh-huh.
talking with them almost every day. Lots of awesome feedback and thoughts on Season 8 so far, and we are super excited to work with them this year. So
Casual
congratulations
trash
to
players.
all of those to the Olympians for Season 8. We're looking forward to working with you this year.
Love the Olympians program. It's been so
Most
helpful
definitely.
to us. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been super awesome.
Let's
All right.
We've been
Well, let's
busy
go
with
ahead and talk
the
about
new council
I
already.
know. Lots and lots
Arena
of stuff going
playoffs
on.
or whatever.
Let's move on and start talking about 8.2 and some of the proper balance that's going to be coming out live when 8.2 launches later on in February, around the 23rd. And we'll kick it off with game modes. And we've got a lot to talk about, mostly conquest focused, if not all conquest focused for game modes here.
We don't
But
give a
for the
fuck.
first
Show
one,
us
let's
a
talk
new
about the
god.
enhanced speed buff. I know a lot of junglers weren't really too happy about some of that bonuses that they
enhanced
were
speed
getting
buff was
on the enhanced
mostly
speed buff
trash.
after killing the scorpion. So
Most
we're
of
making
all.
some changes. Going to be removing the crowd control reduction on the enhanced speed buff, and it's now going to provide an additional flat 5% movement speed.
Movement
Yeah.
speed is
That's
strong, right?
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's all junglers want. Is it doesn't matter if there's a team fight at Fire Giant, Gold Fury. I want to go fast. And this lets you
Yeah.
go fast.
Jugglers only want one thing, and it's disgusting. It's movement speed. And we've had to remove the movement speed. We've had to be careful with amount of movement speed. We did want to be a little careful, but then we saw the feedback that they felt like this buff was just clearly undervalued
Okay,
compared to the
Purple
other
getting 15
enhanced buffs.
additional attack speed.
All the other ones, I
Blue
think, they're
getting
really cool and really
10%
interesting. We want those scorpions.
cooldown
They're
with
a new
no fucking
objective.
reason.
We want those to be a part
Red
of the
getting
game. We want those to
lifesteal.
be
That's
something you're
fine.
considering at any
But
time in
Blue
the game.
getting 10
So
additional.
we think with your jungler
cooldown.
being a little bit more invested on that, that's going to really help the team play of the whole map too. Because your jungler is going to want this, and they're also going to want to deny it from their opponent jungler, right?
So since red
this should
cooldown
create
is
some
better than movement
even more
speed.
interesting strategy on an already
5%, by the way.
exciting new map.
Definitely. All right, next up, let's talk about Invader's Curse, making some changes here. We're going to be just adjusting the area in general here, but also one thing that I've seen community talk about is just how long it lasts. So we're actually going to be decreasing the time that it's active down from a minute to 35 seconds.
Yeah, we
What
talked with the
curse?
pros on this one specifically, and we also just stood our ground a little bit here. We don't want to encourage super early invades. We don't want matches being decided.
That's
by
what
2
makes
teams
game
at the
fun.
We've
Invading
designed the map
makes
in many
game
ways
fun.
so that it's a little bit
Why
easier
you
to
even
protect
made
yourself,
that
but
fucking
we want
change?
to keep
I
this
don't
additional
fucking get
safety
it.
feature. So currently we had it really localized around buff areas. So if you really tested the bounds of the Invader's Curse, you could kind of weasel your way into the enemy jungle like pretty far without getting it applied to you. Now it's going to be a little bit more consistently applied when you really go into the enemy side jungle. And we also just decrease the time. We just want to protect you at the very beginning of the game. The very beginning. Once you start going to laning and start fighting and start looking to invade, and
Yeah,
and cause,
you just don't
through
want to
lane
be
pressure,
game fun.
we don't want this to be a
You-
factor
you
anymore.
don't
So we're
wanna
cutting
be
this
a
down
game
by
fun.
almost 30
All I
seconds.
can hear,
Should
you
be,
don't wanna be a
should be a
game fun.
nice, safe start, but still opening up a lot of pressure strategies.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, let's talk about the Lesser Scorpion up next. Making some changes here, mostly to the healing aura and how the system and the mechanic kind of works. So it's no longer going to provide the aura when the Scorpion is in its down state. And it's got those 3 little pips that you have to hit with basic attacks. It is now going to grant the healing aura to the team that actually gets the last hit. Correct me if I'm wrong, AJ.
You're right.
That's
You're
correct.
still going to have to down it. You're still going to have to down it. You're still going to have to kill it once it's downed. But instead of us splitting the reward, we did see a few players. A shout out to some of our ADC streamers. I've seen them when you get some pressure, they kill the Scorpion, but they don't finish it. They leave it at 1 health, and they sit in the area. It was just a bit too narrow. We were really only seeing people utilizing it when they had really safe lane pressure where they could really body out their opponent. We want it to be a little bit more contested and just a little bit more clear in the way it behaves. So now, whoever kills the Scorpion after it's been down to the true last hit, that team is going to get the XP gold as well as access to the healing.
Okay. That's good change.
All right, and then just a couple of
One
notes
good
on
change.
just like
One good change.
the map and environment and kind of gameplay. Super excited to announce that we're going to be adding the spectator version of the Conquest map in 8.2. So everybody that's running your community
8.2.
tournaments, you'll be able to get
Not
a
now,
cleaner
8.2.
version that's got some less height on some of the walls as you're spectating your games, which is super exciting. And then also to the gameplay version of the map, we're just making various environment changes towards the scale, specifically around the Fire Giant pit, lowering that big wall to kind of prevent some clipping for people with global ultimates, making some similar changes to the order side base archers.
What
as
about
well.
Janus Portal?
Yeah, the key thing to say on
getting
this
the-
is
Janus
one,
one
the
getting
Fire Giant, the
Portal
scale there fell
in
off. Everyone was saying the
mid-air,
Fire Giant felt tiny.
and
He's like
what else I was
4 or
thinking?
5
I
times
forgot.
taller than a god, so he's big still. So we just adjusting that wall to not have that weird optical illusion. It also
Janus
it's
Portal
extended way into the
and-
flight zone for many gods, right? So we
I
took those
forgot
trees
what I was
down
supposed to say,
a
but
little bit,
yeah.
not a lot.
Mainly
And
Janus
we've seen a
Portal.
lot of discussion out there. So Pon and I just wanted to call this out too. A lot of discussion about people wanting us to like remove trees or hide trees.
Yeah,
but we want to just go
Rama
ahead and say that
ulti.
right now.
Rama
Right now, the
ulti.
design team is
You
pretty
ulting,
happy
you
with
can
the
see
way
shit.
that the visibility interacts with global ultimates. You have
Yep.
to have some vision of someone. You have to have some teammates in order
Rama
to really get
ulti,
those more
Tana
clear
ulti,
dunks.
what
And we
else?
think this is
Dor
a fun
ulti.
and like honestly a way to balance those characters in some ways too. And we plan on keeping it that way. We don't plan on currently removing trees or allowing people to hide trees or look through trees.
Good point.
Because global ults are really, really good on this map too.
Yeah.
So this is one way you can kind of counter global ults, and we think it's a pretty fun and interesting way to counter.
Okay.
And it's a fair way to counter. Like you can
No,
tell. where
you're
people
not
are
gonna
passing to,
change
and if
it
it's a
because
good
you don't
idea,
know
there's a
how
lot
to
of
fucking
normal
fix it.
Type of
That's
game
about it.
decision and game visibility decisions that you would make even when you're not in the air. Same type of process goes here.
All right, that wraps it up for game modes. Let's talk about items. We've got a couple here. First up, Gilded Arrow. Going to be seeing a fix/buff here. This item in 8.2 is no longer going to mark jungle bosses.
Yeah, so a relatively minor change here. This was just it feels
What?
weird to then have the reward for lasting on a jungle boss, where that's like a team effort
Should.
to kill, as well
Should
as it was
not.
just kind of marking things as you're running through the jungle when you
Should.
get to your camp, and it would have marked the gold
But
fury instead of that
it's
purple
not
you wanna
gonna
kill.
mark, but
So
it
it just
should
felt a little
not.
bit weird.
Feels
This just
bad.
makes the item more
They
consistent.
don't know, is it
really just
working?
make sure that you're marking targets that you're likely to get the last hit
Woo!
on in control.
It's still intended to mark jungle buffs and jungle camps
Correct.
as well. By the way, that's intended, just not
Yes.
bosses. That's
Correct.
also as a way to kind of encourage you to go into the jungle and clear things.
Okay.
Right, and then last up for items, we kind of talked about it earlier, but we just want to quickly recap the Mannequin Scepter changes that are coming out in 8.2. It's going to be seeing a fix. We fixed an issue where it was dealing magical damage rather than physical, and we're also decreasing the attack speed slow.
Yep, the fixed damage type it depends on your matchup
Wait,
and what.
w-
items
wait,
you
what?
select. Could be a little bit more damage or a little
Scepter
bit less
was a-
damage. It largely is going to be pretty.
I didn't
similar
know
to what it was
that!
Before.
But
then you add the
Mannequin
damage nerf on it,
Scepter
and
was
it's gonna overall
getting
reduce. But the other thing was the
attack speed
especially
slow.
early on when you have no attack.
I
speed
even didn't
built.
know that.
Characters that have like cleaving chains or characters that rely on their basic attack slot for their clear really feel the slow at the start of the
So
game.
this item is
for a
completely,
tier 1 starter, that's
completely
2 tips of
broken.
an effect. We're toning that back so that
It's
players can.
completely
It's still not
fucking
beneficial to trade
broken.
with someone with mannequins, but you're not completely like zoned out
Yeah,
and being able to like
it's completely
box at all.
broken.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to gods
3.5
for 8.2.
four
And we've got
times.
Donzaburo up first, going to be seeing a nerf to
7,
Uproar's
14%.
Rockets. We're going to be decreasing the physical power scaling on the ultimate ability.
Yeah, this
It
guy's
doesn't
calmed
change
down
anything.
a lot in 8.1.
He's still
actually.
broken.
Maybe because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. People are trying a lot of different things. His stats are looking a lot more reasonable now. He was obviously very strong in 7.12, but he got some pretty
He's still
reasonable
broken.
buffs in 8.1.
He's still
And we're just
broken.
doing one more little buff, and then or a bit little nerf, and we'll be keeping an eye on him after that. So
Yeah,
I
he's
think
still
this
broken.
should round him out nicely. I think this god is still really fun, really interesting, and a lot of cool potential on this new map with his ultimate.
It's
Oh,
still
definitely.
broken.
I love Donzaburo. Definitely looking forward to seeing, just a little bit toned down, just because I know that Rocket was dealing a lot
still
of damage
fucking
here. And
broken.
then next up, we got King Arthur seeing a fix, which is going to be a little bit of a nerf as well. We fixed an issue where Arthur could proc item effects with his basic attacks.
Yeah, so this was a
Huh?
fix that Yorm also got where essentially they could trigger off like the tier 1 blessings that existed before, but because all of the starter items are much more like true items in their own right, this is just a consistency pass. His basic
I
attack
even
doesn't
didn't
trigger
know
item
that.
effects. It shouldn't
So
trigger
that's-
starter item effects as well.
Doesn't fix anything.
All right,
Doesn't
small
change
fix
No
for King
mannequins,
Arthur. Yeah, no mannequins, Arthur. Small fix for
Go
King
back
Arthur.
to
but
Bluestone.
Yeah.
Some big buffs
It's always
for
those
Baba
Bluestone.
Yaga here. Baba's Brew going to be seeing just a large-scale amount of just quality of life updates to just some of the timing on her animations from, pulling out the potion, switching, etc. Upon, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah, this is one that I particularly was adamant against for quite some time because I felt like you needed the time to hear the potion being brewed and thrown and understand that it's going to come at you, and she has potions, she's pulling out multiple ones. There's a lot of state going on there that is conveyed through the audio and the time that you have to respond to that.
Boring.
But given the power of it and how players
Nobody
have
played
learned
this
Baba
fucking
Yaga and
god.
overall, the clunk that it introduced wasn't really worth the necessarily gameplay
Nobody
feel of playing against
plays
Baba Yaga,
God
and with the
'cause
reduced timing,
easy
it does
to
still feel
kill.
pretty fair to play against these Baba Yaga potions, because you still have to
Same as
throw it, you
Artemis.
still have a warning target on the ground. So this should just
what
make
else?
Baba Yaga feel a lot better to play, a lot better
Artemis,
and smoother
Skadi.
push management,
No, Sky,
and enemies can
but
still
yes.
play around this
Artemis
effect and play
Skadi.
against the potions just
Same
fine.
shit. Easy to kill.
Definitely looking forward to seeing
Baba
Witch
Yaga
of
is
the Woods
pretty hard.
Animation
slinging some
changes tend to be
potions.
She's in
strong
that
buffs, so
Yes.
keep
Oh,
an
yeah.
eye
This
out
is
for
likely
Baba.
very
I
good
mean,
for her.
these are big buffs, by the way. They are a quality of life, I guess, but they're big buffs.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Jormungandr making some changes to his basic attacks. They will no longer be reduced by items that have flat damage reduction. And then immovable, his passive, we're going to be decreasing the damage taken from debuff from 15% to 10%.
It has been quite a ride for this poor god.
I
mean,
know.
he was the best god in the game when he was triggering items in an abusable way, and
Yeah.
then he was terrible, and even last year, up and down. So Jorm has been on quite a ride. We're trying to just get him back in a reasonable spot. Now that we've seen the stats of the new season, he has dropped off quite a bit. We're trying to
Completely
do a
down.
little bit more to push him towards support, which I think the immovable
Jorm
buff
can't
will really
support.
help, so he can't be so
He don't have
bursted by
support
hitting him with specific types of
abilities.
CC.
He cannot
And then the
support.
basic attacks, just with someone who's going to have his basic attacks functioning the way that he does,
He
we knew this was
cannot
going to come up.
support. All
If it
his
wasn't a
fucking-
problem right
one
now, it would
support
probably be a
skill.
problem sometime in the
He's
future. So we
fucking
just wanted
free.
to go ahead and
Knockout.
make this
That's
special
about it.
rule exception to
So
Jorm
back,
to make sure that he is always able to do
knockup
a pretty consistent amount of
anti-heal
damage
slow.
through that, so we can balance that more effectively. So I'd
Jorm is
imagine to
trash
see him
as
coming
support.
back a little
He's
bit
solo
in the,
lane, but
solo
not
and
support.
possibly dual lanes in A2.
All right, and then speaking of dual lanes, we got a hunter that hasn't been seeing, a whole lot of changes here in a while. We've got Carnanos making some changes to Shifter of Seasons. Summer Heat, we're going to be increasing the scaling from
Yes!
5% to 10%.
I love
and then
Chrononos.
Autumn
That's
Decay,
good.
we're going to be
That's
increasing
fucking good.
the protection debuff on that one, and also increasing the duration.
From 10 to 26?
Yeah, so Carnanos is one of those characters that
but
has some
7
interesting
seconds.
leveling order stuff going
From
on with
5
him,
to 7
because
seconds, that's good.
why the,
I love
the
Chrononos.
one is such a
That's
cool
good
ability.
change.
The first
That's
rank
a
of it doesn't
fucking good
provide
change.
super intense effects, and so in some cases you could just fight skipping points entirely.
That's a fucking
One thing
good
that we
change.
wanted to encourage was that you can go this and get an early rank in it and feel good about it, especially if you're good at managing all the seasons and bouncing back and
Mm-hmm.
forth between Autumn Decay and Summer Heat to get that extra damage out. Just makes it more
Increase-
rewarding to have
that's
that
really
point
good.
spent in, and gives
That's
that
fucking
duration
awesome.
is going to make
I'm
it a
loving
bit
it.
easier to also execute
That's
on the Autumn
awesome.
Decay strategy.
That's
you can apply
fucking
and
awesome.
benefit from it for a longer period of
Apple
time.
is still
Just a
broken.
nice change to Kernos players to make the one feel easier to use as well as be
That's
better
good, but
at the
Apple is
rank
still
1
broken.
version of it.
You're definitely going to want to pick up Autumn earlier than you did before.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Correct.
All right, just a couple more gods left in balance here. Odin up next. Going to be seeing a change to Ring of Spears. One, we're going to be changing the duration of the ultimate to be 5 seconds at all ranks instead of scaling from 4 to 6. And then also, enemies inside the ring will now have their power reduced by 15%.
Doesn't
So a little
change
bit of a
anything.
shift buff.
Odin is
we're
just
taking that top
easy
end
to
duration
dodge
down a little bit
abilities,
to improve Odin's
his
early
damage,
game
and
and make the
Phantom
ring a
is
little
in
bit
the
more
game.
consistent. But
No.
speaking of
Odin
consistency,
doesn't
this
change
power
anything.
change, it used to be an attack speed change, right? And we didn't really like that because it was so specific. Like certain
Doesn't
gods
change
didn't care about this at
anything.
all. Just continue
Does
boxing
not
in his
change
ring,
anything.
which
Odin
has some
still
weird
sucks.
thematic like implications. Like why are magic characters not affected by this? So now that we've seen Odin
Odin
drop
still
off
fucking
quite a bit,
sucks.
honestly. He was very strong after the
He's
rework.
boring
We got a
to
lot of
play
community feedback
in
and data
first
to that he
place.
was strong, so we took him
He's
down a notch.
fucking boring.
But now we're looking to
as
bring him
shit
back up,
god.
and one way we felt that we could do that in a more uniform way would be to have this attack speed debuff of the old days kind of reimagined as now just an actual power, so it affects all gods. In a, it's still not going to affect tanks as much as maybe DPS characters, but lets
It's
Odin
still
really
boring.
have an edge up in the ring against a lot of other types of gods he might be fighting one on one.
Easy to dodge, easy to fucking
And it also doesn't
counter.
interfere with the counterplay that exists now with actually breaking out of the cage. Attack speed slow would artificially increase the difficulty of breaking out the cage
Nah,
too,
no.
which we feel is a pretty good balance spot.
No,
True.
he still sucks.
All right. Well, we've got one more for balance here. We've got Isis as our last god, seeing a buff in 8.2. Dispel Magic, we're going to be increasing the slow from 20% at all ranks, and that's going to scale from 20 up to 30%, and then also increasing the shield health on this one.
Yeah, Isis is a pretty similar story to Odin in that Isis got some changes to
I
how
don't
core
play
abilities
Isis,
worked,
so I
and
don't
then
know.
was really, really good. We nerfed quite a bit,
don't
and
play
then we've
her,
been
so-
slowly bringing her back up. And one thing that we feel
I
like
don't really
could
know
really
if
put
it's
her
good
into
or
a
bad.
solid spot is Dispel Magic. Some of the nerfs we did removed her survivability and self-heal. We want to bring some of that back. So Dispel Magic, the slow is going to scale up. So that gives, especially late game, where it's harder to just sit there and Wind Gust in people's faces, an extra tool to help enable that, as well as some extra base shield health to also further enable that in the late game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Specifically, we wanted to call out these are both late game buffs.
Yes, both late game.
Isis already has quite a good early game, but she's dropping off really heavily. We didn't want to over buff her early game because that's where she tends to find her frustration point. Possibly
Right.
that part of the mistake we made around her
Isis
reworks.
is just
Now we're
easy
just
to
going
kill.
for the scaling, which we think is a lot safer. Hopefully, bring her back into the meta in a more safe way.
So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk about that.
Most definitely. Well, that wraps it up for balance, guys. We did it, but we've also got a lot more that's coming out in 8.2 that we definitely want to talk about. We've got some quality of life stuff that's coming up here, and we want to talk about viewer points and the viewer store. We made an announcement last week about how viewer points are going to be working in Season 8. They're going to be moved to this
I
new
have 1
system
year to
via
get one
Twitch
skin.
drops that you guys can earn right now on the Smite Game channel, but we're also super excited to announce that as of right now, or maybe about an hour ago, you can earn viewer points on any Twitch stream that is playing Smite, which is super awesome. So if you want to watch here, if you want to watch, some of your favorite Smite content creators,
That's good.
anywhere on Twitch
I
that
like
has
that.
a Smite stream open, you will be able to earn viewer points via
I like
Twitch
that.
drops. Super exciting. And we've also got the breakdown on how many points you'll be able to earn,
I like
where
that.
you can earn those points, and all that good stuff in patch notes if you guys want to check that out. But we're also making some pretty significant changes to the viewer store, and I can kind of pass it along to AJ because we're going to have skins in the viewer store as well, but we're adding some new stuff in there too.
Yeah, so we're not going to
Skins
go
I
into
don't
all
give a
the
fuck.
little details on this right now, but I want to talk about the key improvements to this store. So, first of all, we are keeping the system relatively similar as last year. You can earn points from watching, except you'll now get to get them through the drops. You can buy a pass with a skin that is going to double your viewer points for the rest of the season. We are generally keeping prices the same, but increasing the amount of points you can earn. That's going to be a little bit faster this year, so you'll reach those
That was the
75 and
problem.
200k thresholds faster.
Because
We're also
you
adding
need
a whole
1 year
bunch
to
of
watch fucking
other
earn one
items
skin.
at different viewer point tiers. So we're now going to have new non-skin cosmetics as well as rotating old skin cosmetics at different price tiers in the viewer store. So there's always kind of something for you to be looking at, maybe buying if you're not interested in the more expensive items. We're going to have a new stretch reward skin as well as a new buy-in pass skin, and we're going to have new 200k skins, although for the start we're going to keep the two most recent ones and only rotate those out one at a time.
Right.
So a lot of exciting things. I mean, the biggest one being that you can earn these from watching any streamer as long as they enable their drops. And you're going to want to make sure you go ahead and check out that UI in Twitch. You can tap on your profile to look at drops to make sure you're earning progress for your drops. You'll also need to claim your completed points drops
Yes.
in Twitch before you go into game to get them. So that's a really big change, but it's a lot more clear. You should always know if you're earning points or not. The previous system was kind of invisible. We love the visibility here. And last note about this whole section is currently in 8.2. When you get in game, the voting tab and the teams tab are going to be intentionally hidden because we are not going to be revealing SPL teams quite yet.
Not quite ready to show off the rosters, but in due
So
time, I'm
those-
sure Avi
Those
is
will get
holding
shown
the key.
off more in a few weeks from now, and then we'll go ahead and be including those features, unlocking those features for players to start voting and supporting their teams in 8.3.
Definitely. Lots of exciting stuff coming to the viewer store. We're actually going to take a little bit of time to show off some of the skins and in our first kind of skin segment
Don't give a
for all the stuff that's
fuck.
coming out in 8.2. And then the first skin that we've got up, this is going to be your viewer pass skin for the year. So this is your buy-in skin to get double points for the entire year. Super excited for this one. Voodoo Rock Baron Samdi. And I am loving the vibes and the digs on this one. It kind of in the music theme, but it's not quite heavy metal like we've done in the past. This is kind of a different take on the Rockstar, right, AJ?
Yeah, we've been getting the requests for a music baron. He just, he has such a a party atmosphere to him.
Nobody
that
blames him.
We've been looking into this for a while. This is inspired by a lot of different genres of different types of music, rock and roll. We tried to include a lot of different, kind of different references all
He's good support
combined
and
into
solo,
one,
and
like God
that's
of
about
Rock.
it.
This is awesome. We're actually going to
But
take
he's
a
still
look at
easy
it
to
in game
kill.
and show off some of the abilities really quick. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack before we go in game. Oh, never mind. We're in game right now. Let's go ahead and look at what we've got going on here. I'm loving the basics, and Pon's going to go through
Those
Trusty
speakers?
Driver.
Those are definitely speakers.
Oh,
Speakers.
yeah, that's sick. And as we're going through the abilities, I definitely want to give a shout out to Noah on the audio team who had a fun time going through and adding the music elements to all the audio effects here. Definitely brings the entire skin together. I'm loving it.
Who gives a fuck about skins?
Oh, and the Hysteria,
Not me.
it's the speakers on them playing music.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah,
awesome.
it's just like playing in your
Not
ear the whole
fucking
time. Do, 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 do. We got the Cobra. Oh,
Yeah, that's
Nice. You got the dance floor with
And
the
he's-
ultimate.
he's shredding the guitar. He's got
That
some
is
ghost
sick.
ladies hanging out on the side of his speaker too. That is amazing.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, man. It's been a while. I think Baron might have been on your list too, AJ. Well, it's been
That is true.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Baron's gotten the skin, so we're hitting a couple guys in this update, which is exciting. Yeah,
So good.
this one came together
While
super
this
well,
fucking
and
trash
I've
is
got the cue.
talking,
Let's
I
go ahead and
wanna
take a listen
check,
to the voice pack here for
Many
Voodoo
kinds
Rock
of
Baron.
stuff.
I
changes
know
because
this
I
crowd
missed
is
it.
a fan of the classics, but I've got some surprises up my sleeve too that I know
New
you're
God,
just gonna
okay.
love.
Skins, I don't give
Oh,
a
that
fuck.
voice pack
That is
is
so
fitting.
good. Oh my god.
I
that
love
is
it.
amazing.
Oh, that's
Bug
awesome.
fixes,
That is
whatever.
acted masterfully.
This item should no
This
longer
is sick.
mark
All right,
jungle
so this is
bosses,
going to
okay?
be next up in the
Mannequin
viewer store,
Scepter.
kind of your first store exclusive for
Fix
200k
initial where
points
Mannequin
for
Scepter
season 8.
dealing magical
Infinite
damage instead of
Avatar
physical.
Vamana. And
Doesn't
I
change
believe we had an
anything.
Infinite skin that was
God
part of the viewer pass last year,
changes.
so kind of keeping with the tradition here. And I love the card art here, and I just love Infinite skins are like one of my favorite lines.
So
I just
we
love
didn't nerf
how we've been
Mannequin
able to
Scepter?
kind of expand that theme and grow it even further.
This might be another skin for the god on the.
They didn't nerf Mannequin
Oh, I
Scepter.
know. We're hitting them.
right off the bat.
Yeah.
We also tried to, again, as we often do, add some more
They didn't nerf
experimentation and
Mannequin
changes
Scepter.
and subgenres within our theme. So this skin,
Oh,
although it's
okay,
infinite, it's got a
dude.
bit of a darker spin to it, and we tried to kind of give that a little bit more of a darker theme.
They
across the
did
board.
not nerf Mannequin Scepter.
This one
They nerfed
looking great. Let's go ahead
Cupid.
and take a listen to the voice back
Instead
for
of Apollo or
Infinite Avatar
Danza.
Vamana.
No, Danza got small nerfs.
Their lack of
Small.
control will truly be their downfall.
A
Awesome.
little more sinister than some of the other infinite
Yeah,
skins.
definitely. I like it. I love the echoing on the voice pack.
That's skins. I'm going to dive in.
But we've got a nice
I
group of
must
skins that are
already-
kind of rounding out the first round in the viewer store. But we've got the stretch reward that we want to talk about here. And this one's been around in the
Yes.
community for a little
Yes.
bit. Olympians kind of pitched this one last year. We've
Finally.
got Chichen Pizza Shiva Lanke as your stretch reward this year. So similar
It's
to Valkyrie
happening.
Bride 4.
Finally, this was a
I
closed beta
know.
idea or something, or season 1 at
This-
least.
So good. Oh man, I'm loving the card art. You've got the rats that are kind of chasing because the pizza. Oh man, this one is looking great.
Now, the
Straight
lore
out-
is very important here. He is
Yes,
working
this is
for a
very true.
rival pizza organization that is does not get along and competes with Chef Vulcan's pizzeria. And of
Oh,
course,
this
he's
is
spinning
great.
a pizza as his weapon and throws pizzas at people. 'cause
my
that's the
gosh.
whole that's the joke. Gif, right?
This
That's
is
it.
amazing. And for those of you that aren't in on the pun, it's Chichen Pizza is a reference to Chichen Itza, which is a great temple in Central America that is very prominent in Mayan lore, which is super awesome. So kind of give you guys a little bit of a history lesson to go along with this long time Smite community.
Let's
meme.
not fix
Let's
the
take a
game,
listen
but
to the voice pack
let's
before
get
we go in
fucking
game and
skins,
show off
because
some
all
of the,
we need is
effects.
money.
Hey, Vulcan's Pizzeria! You got a new competitor in town.
There we go, staying true to the lore here, as AJ said, and I'm super excited to see this one in game.
Throwing
And he's
pizzas
just
at people.
Throwing pizzas.
slinging slices. This is amazing.
We've been
We
always
have
trying to keep an eye out for some of the favorite community meme skins over the years. You know, we finally did Wedding Dress Thor, and now finally Pizza Belanque. And what is it? Breadsticks and garlic knots he throws at
So,
people, I think.
I'm gonna slow-mo this because it's too good not to. He uses a breadstick and shoots out pizza darts.
Oh my goodness.
It's too good.
Oh man, this is great.
Let's slow-mo.
And
I
of
love
course,
how you've
the
got like
skins.
flashes of all the different like pizza ingredients and toppings as well.
And I believe the
Ultimately,
enemies
it's great.
become blinded in sort of fiery, darkness.
Nice, like
for
they're in a
this.
pizza oven.
A lot of good food references across the game.
Yeah. This one is looking great here. This is Chichen Pizza Shibalanke, your stretch reward for the season in the viewer store. So as long as you're watching streams on Twitch, any Smite stream, and earning those points, you will be making progress towards the skin, which is super exciting. And that wraps it up for kind of the viewer store / viewer pass section of the skin segment. Let's go ahead and start talking about Dawn of Babylon, which is kind of our big event towards the top of the year. And first up in this event that we want to show off in 8.2 is Arachnoid Arachne. And this one is looking
Show
sick. You
us
guys
new
know I love
god!
the all the tech and all the cyborg / mecha skins. This is great.
Another unique take on a mech type of feel, right? But not really a mech, very, cyborg android instead. Very clean and simple, but also very sinister and
And
scary.
very ugly.
Yeah, this one's great. And I got a note here in the audio. We've got some awesome
And
like
already
servo
showing in
references
Arena,
and elements that were put into the
which
effects and
only
audio
people
for this
who
skin.
cares about skins.
But let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack for Arachnoid Arachne.
System is calibrated. Threats identified.
Nice, definitely looking
They'll
forward
get you.
to this one. This one
Those
looks
joints
sick.
are freaking me out.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Oh my
The way
goodness.
they separate, that's really nicely done by the animation team. There's a lot of detail there.
Yeah, there's tons of it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love the clean, kind of sleek look in this one. Next up in Dawn of Babylon, in this bundle, we've got Wild Style Mulan, and this one has got some kind of anime vibes and some bright
Mulan
colors.
sucks as a
I'm
glove,
loving the
but
card
let's
art
make the
here.
skin for him.
We've been doing this more often, but I love the kind of breaking the third or fourth wall here, and it's like you're looking at a security camera, and Mulan is just kind of tagging it up here. This one's great.
I love all these super bright colors that we've been doing on a lot of these skins. It just looks so good in the game. It like pops a ton.
Nice. I love the white and cyans complemented by the pink too. The colors are great.
And this skin has a bunch of
weapon.
extra features with the weapons. Yeah, she's got the sword is a pipe, and I believe her spear is a skateboard. And we even have a half pipe that gets spawned in briefly for the ultimate
Oh my
deployable. She's got
goodness,
some
that's
cool
sick.
stuff going on in this one. Yeah, we really
Nice.
tried to, fill out the whole fantasy of this graffiti punk vibe.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, this makes sense. It's kind of in line with like the past, like the Thor skin that we had. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack for Wild Style Mulan.
Yeah, I break rules. If we follow all the rules, we miss all the fun.
There you go. Definitely loving the personality in this one. And we've got one more skin to show off before we get into Tiamat. And this is probably Tina's favorite skin of the patch. We've got Northern Warder Khepri as a part of the Critter Chest.
Oh, yeah.
And we
Khepri missing
transformed
skins.
the Hugbug into a fluffy little Northern Warder. And I love it. I love it. I love it. What do you think, AJ?
Well, the idea was,
yeah.
what type of mystical creature could we make Khepri instead of a bug, right? So we were starting to imagine something that was mammalian, right? And
His
how would
looks
that work? How would
ugly
that
as
feel?
fuck.
Something that you would see from a lot of different types of fantasy.
looks
And
ugly
it was
as
an
fucking
interesting
fuck.
challenge. Honestly, I'm really happy with how it
Honestly.
turned out. Though I think it's super unique. And I
Ugh.
think it makes the Khepri skin
Ugh.
options feel like they have an even better, wider
Oh,
variety of
God.
choices for players.
His face is so
He'll-
cute.
I know.
But he looks ugly as
Yeah, this one
fuck!
turned out really great. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the voice pack for Northern Warder Khepri.
I am as old as the glaciers of the north. Now, they are being threatened.
No, honestly, it's making me sick. It looks that ugly. It's making me
I
sick.
love it. I love like the deep voice. And Kefri, you know, he's got the guardian, the support, the protector vibes, and the voice pack definitely echoes
Jesus.
those themes. I'm looking forward to seeing that one
Oh,
in
God.
game. But it is time. It is time for the reveal of Smite's newest mage, the first god of season 8. What everybody's been waiting for. I'm sure Chad has been spamming. Come on, let's get to it. We're gonna take a quick break, and on the other side, we will be revealing Tiamat, goddess of the Salt Sea. We'll be back.
Can you stop it already and show us a new god? We already seen this fucking trailer. Like 3 or 4 fucking times only from your stream.
Enough.
Kill the Cthulhu. Get him out of here.
This realm can be saved.
True. This game can be saved. If only fucking Hyra's not gonna be owner of this game.
Remade.
True. But not by Hyra.
In my image.
Damn, I get the hype vibes. I wanna play this fucking god! This new warrior!
King Gilgamesh. You seek immortality. But you found only death.
I wanna play Gilgamesh. He looks awesome as fuck.
Man, that cinematic gets me every single time. I just want to take a quick second to shout out our amazing partners over at Glow for all the awesome cinematic works that they've been doing with us.
Just show us new god!
It's time to talk about Tiamat. We switched out Pawn for Clumsy. Pawn's still going to be with us in spirit, driving and showing off the new goddess here. But we've got Tiamat, goddess of the Salt Sea, first god of season 8. We put out the Closer Look vlog yesterday, but kind of recap. Talk to me about Tiamat. Who is she, and who is she in Smite?
Go ahead, Clumsy.
I was going to say, so Tiamat is the primordial goddess of the Salt Sea, who mated with Abzu, the god of fresh water. She's the symbol of chaos and primordial creation in the Babylonian epic of creation.
But the trailer is
gave birth
hype.
to the first generation of deities.
It is.
Her husband Abzu assumes that they're going to actually go ahead and kill him and usurp his throne, and later makes war upon them, and is actually killed himself. Enraged, she too makes war upon her children, her husband's murderers, taking on the form of massive sea serpents. Who is then later on actually slain in the stories by Enki's son, the Stormguard Marduk.
It's a battle of the gods in Tiamat's original mythology, and now she's coming to the battle of the gods in modern mythology.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. So talk to me just a little bit about kind of her theming and her kind of our key
Just
pillars
show us the
for Tiamat
fucking
and Smite
god.
AJ.
So Tiamat is a
I'm
primordial
gonna get another
goddess,
beer.
which we have a few of. They're always
They
very
start talking
interesting.
shit.
They have really, really broad and powerful abilities. Tiamat is about creation, and she's about creation, order out of chaos. There only was chaos before until Tiamat and Abzu started kind of giving things life and giving things a form. Unfortunately, those first gods, they chose to rebel against her and fight back against their parents. Right. So Tiamat created even more creatures to fight back with, and we're going to be leaning into the kit. Her visual and personality themes are really about kind of finding the subtle sweet spot in between a monstrous creature and a wise goddess. So she is her visuals are drawn from a lot of different animals, all kind of combined together. We wanted her to have a sort of a base form of a dragon or serpent as she is described in her ancient mythology, but we wanted to give her a lot of unique looks. So she's got feathers, she's got fur,
looks like
she's got different types of carapace, she's got a jellyfish
legit like Kukulkan is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, all sorts of things. And her personality is also conflicted in that regard. She's very calm and collected and neutral, but she's kind of saved the Smite world for now, right? But she's also very straightforward and powerful and demands respect, which different gods are going to take in very different ways, and we're going to be exploring that throughout the year.
All right. Well, we've got a chance to look at the card, and this turnaround, like, her model looks absolutely gorgeous, but I'm about ready to see Tiamat.
Come on,
in game.
show us, show us!
For the update show,
so she's
I will give the reins to Pawn and let him go wild, and then we'll talk about everything.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh my goodness! Absolutely.
Game crashed. Fucking game crashed.
What's going on? Oh, that was.
Oh my god!
Fluid.
They didn't get to that correctly.
Tone details. I mean, the whole team really did an insane job. I mean, she's got, I think, the most abilities in the game, actually.
Yeah,
and,
I was going to say, Clumsy, it wouldn't be an update show with you if we didn't have a new reigning supreme god for the most abilities.
Bugs already.
She's the primordial queen of the mother of monsters, the first of the Babylonian pantheon. We really wanted to do justice on, who Tiamat is with so many different themes. I think the team did a fantastic job.
Yeah, and we'll be back in game in just a second, chat, going through, setting things up just again. Tiamat was just too strong. She's too powerful.
We had that conquest match running for like
game
an hour
crashed
plus or
even
2 hours, so that's
fucking
why we had
bad
restart,
show.
But, nothing with Tiamat's kit, although we expect you all to find.
Let's make more skins instead of fixing the game. You're right.
You can give just kind of a brief overview of the kit if you'd like as a start. The core goals, core themes.
Like we talked about in the Closer Look blog, which I hope all of you guys got to see, is that Tiamat has a lot of different themes going on, right? She's the mother of monsters. She's this primordial queen, the goddess of the salt sea and primordial creation. And we wanted to really, and she's the first of the Babylonian pantheon, right? We wanted to take all these different themes and come together to create a creature in our game that was really unlike anything that you've seen before. So amongst that, we wanted to make her a stand switcher, which in a way is also very different with how she switches between 2 different archetypes of mages. And you're going to see that come into play with her passive, which we can get into in just a second, I think.
Yeah, so we're going to do things just a little bit different here. We're not going to go like in order of like actual abilities. We're going to start off with the stance switch first and then talk about everything else.
So
first up, we've got Grounding Dive, which is her ability 3 in Flying Stance. Talk to me about Grounding Dive, Clumsy.
Yep, so Grounding Dive is a movement ability and a mechanism to go in switching between stances. So Tiamat goes between Flying Stance and Ground Stance. Grounding Dive, all it really does is actually transition to her with a leap, dealing damage when she hits the ground, and bringing her to her ground stance. It also provides Tiamat 1 hardened scale, which is a part of her passive, which I'll get into in just a second. But the opposite of Grounding Dive, which you can now use as the 3rd ability in this stance, is Rising Flights.
Yes.
Suffer thee no more.
And she's gonna
so Rising Flight is also pretty simple. It's a blast of energy that deals damage to energies, and it sends herself backwards, returning her to her flying stance.
What's cooldown on this?
Using Grounding Dive and Rising Flight is the only way to switch between these 2 different stances.
So she's her free.
Super unique, so her stance switch is tied to her ability 3, which is her movement ability. She can either leap in and go to grounded stance or leap back and go to flying stance. So let's
There's
talk
a lot
about
of
the passive.
really unique
Go ahead.
dynamics though with the ability of having to use your movement ability to also change stances, because a lot of times you're using your movement abilities as a very reactive state, and then all of a sudden you've got to fight with like a different kit. It creates a really different feel for this character compared to all the other stance switchers. And also just take a look at how tall she is towering over that Odin while she's in her flying stance.
I know.
mean, she's the
I think we
big
talked about it in the closer look. So she's taller than all the other gods, but not quite as tall as Jormungandr or Cthulhu. She's kind of in the middle ground there.
And her camera height is higher as well to match that.
The other thing to note in the two different stances is in the flying stance she is ranged at magic attacks, but in the ground stance she's actually doing melee attacks.
Okay.
All right. Well, we've got the stance switch down. Let's talk about the passive. Death Begets Life.
So Tiamat's passive does
Actually,
a different thing in
now I
stance, right? That's kind of the
see
gimmick here. So in the
her
flying
as a
stance,
fucking
Tiamat
jungler.
gains health from nearby
Not
ally
mid, but
and enemy
jungler.
deaths. So that's any deaths around her, but a little bit less.
Scaling
minions.
mitigating.
In her ground stance, she gains
What?
up to 5 hardened scales, and that's kind of
Healing?
the mechanism that allows
Small
her to be
healing?
tanky in that stance. So gaining a hardened scale is actually damage mitigation that breaks after a certain amount of damage is taken. It also counts for nearby ally enemies,
60%?
but not including minions this time.
What?
So mostly gods and like jungle monsters, large jungle monsters.
What?
Definitely. All right. So let's talk about the flying stance abilities here. And we'll start off with Primordial Onslaught, her ability 1 in flying stance. What's going on with this one, Clumsy?
Yeah, Primordial Onslaught Pod, if you don't mind me being an annoying one, can you set level just so you have the ranks 1 and 2, and then we'll go on from there. Because Primordial Onslaught, well, Tiamat gains power, allowing her to fire orbs of energy at the end of the channel. Each orb stops on gods, but damages minions and enemies on the way through, going through walls. And as you can see, as she charges up, she gains from 1 to 2 projectiles. At ranks 3 and 5, that actually increases. So at rank 3, she goes from 1 to 4 projectiles. And then finally at rank 5, she'll gain all 6 projectiles if you continue through the entire channel.
What?
And you can see her
What
beautiful
the
uniform
fuck?
clips like around her back kind of filling in as she channels. I think we did a lot of work actually to get that feeling right.
Yes, this one looks great. And I'm going to ask Pawn to kind of charge up and kind of do a sweep as you fire. So we can see how the projectiles kind of interact with this one because it's kind of unique.
She looks fun.
Oh yeah, you can definitely
She
change
looks
your
really
mind
fun.
mid-fire and switch targets.
Yeah, if you hit the same god with multiple ones, you are going to be doing less damage per successful shot.
This is still her primary ranged poke. This is going to do a lot of damage. If you walk into this and take all 6 shots in the late game, you're going to feel it, right? It's going to feel like a Scylla Crush.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that's important as well is that because the amount of projectiles increases as you rank up that ability, her early game, even though she's a stance switcher, isn't actually the strongest. But we can get into that a little bit later as we talk about her hit. And now we can get to the second ability.
You can
cancel. Yeah, let's talk about Ruination.
So Ruination, Tiamat creates an energy field. That's going to be what we call a double-rounded triangle, where it deals low damage to enemies in the entire area, and then a larger amount in the inner area after another time to deploy. The inner area will then also stun enemies that are inside of it.
She had a
So low damage, and then high damage and a stun for enemies inside the center.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Okay, dude. Okay, she's broken.
I love the effects on this.
She
one.
is
Of course, I
fucking
called it out a little
broken.
bit, But new shape, I'm sure people are hype about that.
She is fucking broken.
Always. And both of these abilities are really exploring the sort of like primordial creation magic.
She
that
is
Tiamat
broken.
wields. It's not just like something that would burn you or destroy you. It's like, imagine that Tiamat just undoes things that she wants to destroy, right? It's really cool.
Just Control
type of
Z.
unique take. Yeah, right.
All right, so we're talking about kind of her undoing things, but let's talk about her creating things. It's time to talk about the ultimate.
That was fantastic.
Children
Well
of
done there,
creation.
Isaiah.
I
Well,
appreciate it.
people-
I've been practicing, you know.
People were wondering how is
She's
Tiamat going to be
charging?
summoning all these different creatures, and how does she have all these abilities? Well, that's in the fourth, her ultimate in the flying stance. If you can see right here, she's actually going to be toggling in to another stance, really, another posture, where she can now use 3 completely different abilities in this stance. They all will share a cooldown. The first one here is Summon Serpents, where Tiamat will place a Pit of Creation, which spawns Serpents of Tiamat that travel down the minion lanes, just like minions, just like lane minions. They attack nearby enemies. If you do them in the jungle, they'll try and attack things nearby before finding a nearby lane. 2 serpents spawn every 10 seconds, and the deployable in general will create 3 waves before disappearing. Also, any enemies that are hit by the serpents will have their damage done reduced. These guys are really a new mechanism that we haven't really tried before, which is passive lane pushers.
Yes.
She's broken.
A little bit about their health as well as
she's fucking broken.
1 HP from god hits, including abilities, per unique
these
ability,
minions
as well as
do
3
not
hits
despawn
from minions. So they are a little bit tankier to minions, and like I said, they apply that damage reduction debuff as well to gods and minions.
You can do some really interesting lane pushing and XP farming tricks with this ability too. And it's a very unique ultimate in that you can choose which one you want. So if it wasn't clear, this is used by pressing 2 different buttons to activate the ultimate and then pressing another one to choose the creature. Similar as kind of the way you would do Merlin's stance switch choice.
Let's hit one.
Enemies also can actually stand on that Pit of Creation deployable, the circle where they spawn from, to actually destroy it early as well. That's if they can find it, if they can get to it. But in general, these minions will, if you actually see, they don't have a lifetime. They will keep traveling until they're killed eventually by towers.
That's nice.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to say, so these serpents are persistent. They will push until they die.
Yeah.
And yeah, that circle will only last 3 waves of these minions. You can only have 1 of the pits out at a time. But from there, I think we can go into the second of Tiamat's flying ultimate abilities, Summon Beast, where Tiamat creates a different one of her children, Kusariku, one of the ones in the stories, who stands guard at a target location. A little bit different to the primary purpose, Kusariku or Summon Beast, if an enemy god gets too close, he will charge them and slow them and then attack them. He will wait guard to protect Tiamat and protect location.
She's
so you
broken.
can see he's just waiting there, but if there's a god nearby, he will immediately start attacking them and slowing them extremely heavily for 80%, but only for 1 second.
She's broken.
All of these children we're spawning here from Tiamat are also based specifically on ancient Babylonian texts, so they have their ancient Babylonian names, which
I already can
Clumsy's
see
doing
she's
a pretty
broken.
good job of pronouncing.
Yeah, I know.
I want to play her.
I hope I'm doing okay.
His PTS is up.
Yeah.
So yeah, he serves a
PTS
completely different purpose, and we can get to him in a little bit more detail, and with his purpose. But I think we can go on to the third one of Tiamat's children, which is a little bit less of the normal kind of
I want to play her.
you'd see,
I want to play her.
The Violent Storm, and Umudabrutu or Summoning Storm. When Tiamat creates this deployable, it actually follows enemies before knocking them upwards and dissipating.
PTS wins.
So Umudabrutu, the Violent Storms, is actually still one of Tiamat's children.
This PTS is up. This PTS
You guys
is
caught
up.
on social media we love our distracted boyfriend meme here at Hi-Rez, and this is one that we were thinking about here. So it's kind of like Cuckoo Tornado, but not really. But it follows around. But again,
the 3 other spoiler tweets were actually the references to her 3 children.
It's Knock Up!
Yep. So those ones that were in the kind of more ancient runic style, those were meant to hint to these, which was a really cool concept.
Yep, exactly. And then, like I mentioned a few times,
so it's
earlier,
better Kukulkan.
I can get to again later.
All I can see is much better Kukulkan.
Gameplay. Remember, I said they all share a cooldown, so you can only use 1 at a time. So if you want to use those basilisks to spawn and push down the lane, that's fine. But that means you won't have your Minotaur, your Bulwark there, who might help root down a single target if you're being ganked. Which also means you might not have.
Wait, so you can spawn multiple minions?
You might want that AOE disruption.
Right.
When is PTS?
We've gone through
fucking
everything
PTS?
in flying stance, so let's transition let's transition and switch things up and talk about grounded stance. And the first ability, probably the biggest talking point on social media after this
Kukulkan is one.
Consume. Let's talk about Consume, Clumsy. What's going on with this?
Kukulkan is that
I love introducing this one to people because I just go, it's a simple cone, right? You Consume, you just look at it, it's a simple cone, it deals damage and it slows enemies. But wait, there's more. We really want to try something different here. Consume in the grounded stance. Tiamat can actually use this in minions, on large monsters, and buff holders, as we're about to see, to execute them underneath the health thresholds.
She had execute!
This little FX mark we have on those enemies, it'll instantly kill those enemies. Now, as you might have seen with this kind of mechanic before,
She
it
has
actually causes this to
execute,
buff over while things
not
get a
her
little
own.
bit interesting. And I think I love seeing all the different ideas that people had when we said she duplicates buffs, but there's actually a little bit more to it as well. So Tiamat is able to consume and immediately gain one of these buffs, as we're about to see. Bang. She dropped a red buff in the world, and she gained a red buff as well. But there's a little bit more to it too. Kills another jungle buff holder without using, well, not necessarily without using consume. If she already has consumed a consumed buff, so go ahead and kill that. She can then actually walk over and pick up a second.
Holy shit!
See chat right now.
Yeah, I know.
Holy shit!
What? So she actually is able to, the first god who will be able to utilize 2 different buffs. They all have the maximum.
Holy shit!
This is just insane. But there's a lot of different things we did to make sure that this.
She's
battle- in fact, we
broken!
started out
She's
with the consumed
broken!
buff having like 20% of the duration, or 30 or 50%. But we noticed that trying to force this kind of gameplay, and even if
Can
you're
she
playing
pick
her in
free?
the jungle, it's not the easiest.
Can she
to
pick
make
free?
use of this. Now, in other game modes like Arena or Joust, it might actually be a lot easier. But in Conquest,
she pick
if you're
free?
playing the mid lane or the solo lane, it may not actually be that easy to get this
No,
going.
only
But
two,
like people
okay.
said, if you want to drop a red buff, pick that
Only
up for
two.
yourself and let the support go ahead and grab that. Well,
Only
you're feeling
fucking
pretty
2.
happy.
It's generally just difficult. You
She's
can't
broken.
be everywhere at once, and you don't
She's
want to disrupt
fucking
all of your
broken.
lane's starting positions and their normal jungle flow just so you can get an extra jungle buff, especially not necessarily in the early game.
She's broken.
I'm very excited to see how the pros use this and when they do coordinate themselves in that way. And
She's
if they do try a completely different
broken.
start when it's a Tiamat in the game. Because then we'll really see the pinnacle of this power.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely anticipating if a Tiamat is on your team,
Busted.
you're definitely
What the
going
fuck,
to wanting
banned?
to prioritize the
She's
greater Scorpion to get
broken.
those enhanced jungle buffs.
Yep. Pawn's got a good point here. Another thing that you can see is that, just like in the stories, Tiamat can actually consume her actual pets. So they will immediately be executable by consume. You can see those little points. And what that does, if you remember from the passive, is that she can actually gain hardened scales, which is what allows her to have the extra mitigations when her pets die around her. So
She's
she
solo laner.
summons minions in the flying
She's
sands, her
fucking
pets,
solo
and then
laner.
goes into the ground
Support
and immediately
solo
consumes
laner.
them. She will be even tankier. She gets 5 stacks of hardened scales. I know, it sounds like a lot, guys, but believe me, it'll all come together.
So much. All right, well, that was consumed. Let's
I'm
talk about
hyped.
Outburst.
I'm
gonna be
hyped.
The second ability in Grounded Stance.
Outburst, a lot more simple. Tiamat slams the ground, creating seismic rifts that erupt in succession in front of her, damaging and knocking up enemies.
Are you
That's all it
kidding
does, I
me?
promise.
That's it. Yeah. I was
She
waiting,
have
I was like,
knock-up
wait, is
as
there more?
well?
Rolling damage and CC.
Yeah. We
Oh
already talked
my
about the third ability, which
fucking
allows her to switch
god.
stances, but then she's finally got her ultimate in ground stances.
Yes. Tempest of Undoing, her ultimate in Grounded Stance. What does this one do?
She have another ult?
Causes an outburst around her, dealing damage in that circle around her that you see, and also a small dot effect to any enemies that are hit by this, gods and minions. Now, the other thing to note, just one small other caveat, is that when Tiamat uses and hits enemy gods, she also gains 1 hardened scale per enemy god hit. This ability is her main way of generating hardened scales outside of just stance switching. So we assume that you're not going to be using her pets and consuming them, or people
She
dying
have
nearby.
to ult.
So you use this right after you've dived in on as many gods as you can. to
Double
gain,
buffs,
stacks
double
of
ult.
mitigation.
Man, that was a lot. Tiamat is super, super interesting. and
Solo.
Lots of
It's
stuff that
solo.
we just
It's
haven't
solo.
done before with lots
It's
of unique
fucking solo
gameplay
later.
ideas and mechanics.
You
how
learn
do guys
mechanics in it's solo later.
Playstyle recommendations, and where do you see her kind of fitting in the meta and in Conquest?
Solo support. Solo support, not mage. Solo and
She's
support.
definitely most likely going to be a mage that you see in the middle lane, but I think she can definitely flex in between the solo lane with a tankier playstyle, or maybe even in the jungle if people really want to try
Solo
and get maximum
support.
utilization out of consume.
Yeah, jungle as well,
As I
actually. Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
She doesn't actually have
Not
the
middle lane.
strongest early
Jungle,
game, because she
solo,
only has
support.
A small bit of clear. with
Jungle,
those 2
solo,
shots
support.
of,
Not middle lane.
primordial onslaught. So unlike most stands, which is like Merlin or even Artio, for example, her early game is going to be harder to get make use by. Conduit Gem has
Yeah,
helped
that's
a lot in the new season, but still, even with that, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, that's a great point. She is different from other stance switchers in the fact that
And
if you
look
want
at her
stance switch
health.
at level 1, you have to invest
Actually,
in your 3,
she don't
which may
have a
not
lot of
be the
health.
best ability for you to
She's
take.
19
definitely
right now,
interesting. That's a
and
great
she
point,
have
Clumsy.
got almost 19
The other thing to
HP.
note is I know you guys have seen this, a lot going on. We wanted to make sure that Tiamat really did justice to all of these different themes. I think it's going to make a lot
she's
more
solo
sense when you get
support.
her hands on
Solo
her.
support
And
jungle.
another thing to note is
Not
that while it
middle
seems
lane.
like she has a
Not
lot that she
middle
can
lane.
do, it's all actually coming out over a longer period of time, right? Even if you're using the entirety of her kit, you're
She
using,
has to
summon
ult.
beast to slow down an enemy,
Do
into ruination,
fucking
into primordial
ult.
onslaught, diving into
Fucking-
enemies, and then using her entire combo there. That's still not maybe as much burst as
9
just using the 3-1
abilities.
ulti combos
Not
here.
9, 9, 10, 11.
It's coming
11
over a longer period
abilities.
of time, and it forces you to jump into
Oh my god.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much for going through everything, Clumsy. I know you put in a ton of work on Tiamat
She's broken.
here, and I'm super excited for
Even
players
after
to get their
nerfs,
hands
she's
on the
broken.
goddess of the Salt
When
Sea.
is BTS?
But before we break, we do have, some recolors and mastery skins that we want to show off. The first one, your standard recolor, is Azure
She
Sea
is
Tiamat.
broke.
And we tweeted this art, and everybody immediately was like, "Who did this? This is absolutely
She
amazing."
is
And
broken.
AJ, yeah.
This was my favorite of all of her cards. I mean, they're all
She's
really
broken.
cool. Personally,
So
this one
beautiful.
speaks to
She's
me.
broken.
Yeah.
It's just something about her rising from the depths and you see the wreckage and stuff
Oh.
around. And I love that we kept kind of the pinks, but
I'm hyped.
instead of like the
I'm
cyans,
hyped.
we go into like a deeper purplish here.
She's
This one's
broken.
great. And we've got some voice lines that we want to show off
She's
as well.
broken.
So let's listen to the first voice line we have for Tiamat while we look at this recolor.
BTS, when? She's much better version of Kukulkan.
corruption. I have arrived to cleanse the land and reshape it in my
She's
own
broken.
image.
She's broken. She's fucking broken.
Oh, I love this. And then I gotta
She's
give a
just
shout out
fucking
while we're
broken.
listening to the voice pack.
Even
To
after
the audio
nerfs,
team, specifically
her
Chad,
kit is
I
just
know
too good.
He took in a lot of work, kind of.
Even she's
thinking
gonna
about the
do no
weight that's
damage.
on
She's
both of
fucking broken.
All the audio effects as we transition stances and stuff like that. For Tiamat, it's super awesome.
She's
But we've
fucking
got the next
broken.
recolor as a part of your season pass 2021, your first ascended skin of the year.
She's
It's going to be
fucking
Tiamat,
broken.
and I love kind of like the greenish yellows here. What do you think?
Green again.
I mean, we had the different purples, and we've got these awesome greens. I love this kind of hue on this crazy monstrous creature.
She's broken.
This
She's
is a
just
very
broken.
unique color choice, and I really like it. And I think it really appeals to the people who
His
are looking
BTS
for
is
the more
up.
reptilian
Give me
feel
BTS.
from her.
Give me
which
fucking
is what I think
BTS.
comes through with this, which is really cool.
All right, let's take a listen to another
Give
voice
me
line for
fucking
Tiamat.
BTS.
I see insects
You should do
competing for
BTS.
supremacy.
There is no way they not
Playing
gonna
God.
do BTS.
Let me show you where the god really is.
All these voice lines just are super
She's
super
broken
great.
as
Let's transition
fuck.
into mastery skins for Tiamat. Will be available day one when she
I
launches.
mean,
So if you're
legendary
grinding,
is gonna be
getting those
best
worshippers up. You will
again.
be able to unlock the gold, legendary, and diamond skins.
Yeah,
Here's the
actually,
Chronicles
gold
Masteries.
looks
This
good.
one's so great.
Beautiful too.
I
Gold
know.
looks good.
I love how she's just kind of grasping that energy and is just ready to onslaught someone and just like undo their entire existence.
Gold looks good. Not gonna lie.
We go in game here, see the turnaround.
Nah.
And I believe
Nah,
we have
nah,
one
nah.
more voice line for Tiamat. Let's take a listen as we transition to the legendary and diamond skins.
Nah.
You dare test your might against Tiamat?
No, we don't want to test our might against Tiamat.
I know, right? Yeah, I definitely do not. So there we
Legendary
go.
gonna be look sick on the hair.
And I believe we'll be transitioning to the legendary and diamond skins here in just a bit. Yep, there we go. There's legendary.
These
black and
colors
gold
really
is my
pop on
favorite.
her, man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Legendary.
I know.
I always
Legendary
love this
all the
theme,
way.
especially on the creature characters. This looks so badass.
Yeah, I always think about, where are we gonna, do the color blocking for the creatures? Because with humans, it's in the clothing, it's kind of easier to tell, but the kind of liberties the art team takes for the mastery skins on creatures.
She's broken.
Is,
I
is
don't
really
know what
great.
to
And
say.
we're
Yeah,
going
we
to
kind
the
of just
diamond
went
She's
all out
fucking
on the
broken.
colors for Tiamat here.
Yeah.
She's just fucking.
Oh,
Yep, there's the
sweet.
diamond. There we go.
That's clean.
Ah,
Yeah, I want that.
Definitely.
No, Diamond looks shit.
Oh,
Diamond
I know,
looks
right?
shit.
I love the new
Legendary
God race,
best.
The first to Diamond. I love getting those tweets.
My main god. My first
This one looks
fucking
great.
main
Well,
god in the
That
smite
is a wrap
in
for
fucking
the
5
goddess
years.
of the Salt Sea. Lots going
6
on
years.
with Tiamat. I'm super excited.
In
I
6
hope all the
years,
players are
this is
super
gonna be my
excited.
main god.
I know the entire team internally is super excited. First god of season 8. I believe
Pantheon.
PTS is new Pantheon. There's so much going on. It's awesome. New Conquest map. But I believe
PTS.
PTS is targeted for Friday, so be sure to keep an eye out on all the official Smite Game social media channels. We will
2
be sure to
days.
let you know when
2
you will be
fucking
able
days.
to log in on PTS and test out the newest mage coming to Smite.
I want to
That's
play
a
her.
wrap here
I just
for
want to
us.
play
Thanks so much,
her.
everybody, for tuning in. We will catch you all on the next one.
Thank you.
New god is broken. I don't have what to say to you. New god is fucking broken. New god is fucking broken. I skipped the Scepter changes. I want to check that.
Listen, if we can't put on a blazer for the meme, then like you didn't do the thing to me, stupid Zeus. You forgot to make an announcement.
That
on the
new
Discord.
god is legit broken.
Somebody quick!
I'm telling you, she's broken as fuck.
Amen.
Show us PTS. Get the fuck out of here, fucking random. Get the fuck out. I didn't. I missed the fucking Scepter changes. The new god is fucking broken as fuck.
Here before we go into
She's not gonna be middle lane.
Yeah, I think
she's
the
gonna
big
be
thing to note
solo.
here is we're looking at things
support
that
and
if there are things that have
jungle.
general consensus around them, maybe being a bit more severe with our nerf or buff than other items that we're still a little unsure of.
Yeah.
And also generally just kinda
She's
tempering
got
what we
so
change
much
here because things
abilities.
are still
No.
rapidly moving around. We see a lot of different
kind of easy option and said that the
Wait.
Magical power on. Kind of the
so
the magical power on it.
Oh, it looks
so
like
we've
that's
got-
listing the.
We'll. Yeah. He should because this god is just
Archmage is nerfed.
just
Spoiler.
broken.
spoiler. Conrad, why don't I'll
This
take the set of these mages and you can
She not gonna be middle lane. No fucking chance. She gonna be jungle, solo, and support, but not middle lane.
take the next set because they're kind of
Yep.
these balance
That
changes
doesn't
are coming
change
in,
anything.
in packages.
This
so
item's
first we're
still
looking
broken.
at mage starters, specifically the conduit gem starter.
Oh no! She's not gonna have any counters. There is no way she's gonna have any counters.
Sorry for the typo here at the bottom, but what you're going to be seeing is on this starter item, you're going to see 5 less MP5 and 5 less.
Don't care.
Capping your cooldown with a that which
Wait,
that is a big
increasing
change, right?
cooldown reduction from
20%
10
cooldown is a huge
to
deal to be able to
20.
get on a single item.
What? Wait.
We were initially concerned.
Wait. Tier 1 item gonna have 20% cooldown? Increase cooldown reduction from 10. Starter item gonna have 20% cooldown. Oh, I'm sorry. This is upgraded version. Okay.
You might have issues
My bad.
with properly
I'm
capping
just
your
spaced
cooldown
out.
with a item that was leveled.
Okay.
A little bit.
Scepter.
New starter.
Let's
item.
stop for that.
We're gonna be seeing a nerf to mannequin.
Decreasing physical protections doesn't change. Okay, doesn't change anything. Decrease bonus damage from 16 to 12. Increase bonus jungle damage from 3 to 4. No, Mannequin Scepter need to remove all protections. All protections removed. All fucking protections removed.
Scepter, both in bonus.
Okay.
We've also seen people
Now provides-
leveraging that attack speed debuff on Bluestone's upgrade as well as an interesting way.
Bluestone now gives 200 health. Brooch. Oh, what about the first one?
But it,
we reduction.
It's only Brooch?
Brooch is actually going to
for the
Okay, that doesn't change
as well
anything.
with health just to kind of offset that nerf.
No longer
you have a little more
provides-
health to play with in the early game.
Hey! Scepter provides free flat damage reductions. But let's remove from Warrior X. I'm drunk. I'm anything. I'm high. Whatever. But let's remove fucking protections from tank item. But not remove it from damage item. Okay. So Scepter still broken.
Wiggle room with your health, and we're gonna upgrade if Warrior's Axe wasn't going to.
And although you might have not seen this item a lot in the game,
Okay, looks fine.
Right, and Warding Sigil seeing a buff, and also seeing a buff to both of its upgrades.
Okay, what next?
AJ, you're predicting the future. I like it.
Scepter still broken. They didn't nerf Apollo. They didn't nerf Cthulhu. Not Cthulhu, Kukulkan. They didn't nerf Danza. They nerfed Danza 10% on his fucking ulti. They did not nerf Nuva. They did not nerf Janus. They did nerf Cupid because he got played a lot on SPL. No, Janus didn't get a single debuff. No, okay. Warrior Axe giving 2 flat reduction. Scepter giving you 3. No. Janus one of most best gods in the game as mid lane. But forgot about Janus. Scepter giving you 3 flat protections. 3 damage reduction. 3. Not 2, 3. Plus basic attack damage and plus passive. So why the fuck we nerfing Warrior X?